You're listening to Mind, Body, Home with your host, Sarah Ann. We made it. We made it to February. I mean, like so many people I know, right? January had me feeling like, whoa, right? It's been an interesting, busy, nonstop, controversial, for some, very stress inducing. It's been a very interesting start to the new year, and there is a lot happening on such a large scale that I know people are feeling very intimately. And my hope for you is that your February starts shaping up to be a little less stressful so that you can start easing into your year as we start building that momentum towards spring. In Florida here, the weather has been simply amazing. I forgot how beautiful Florida is. I mean, all year round, but man, when you come from the north and that cold climate and you're here in February and March and you're spending your day at the beach in 85-degree weather with blue skies and sun for like 15 days straight, whew, you feel an overwhelming sense of gratitude. And I'm not sharing that to rub it in your face if you're still seeing snow and experiencing the cold and you're in the, that time of winter where you're just like ready for it to be over. I remember how, mid-February really feels coming from Pittsburgh. So my intention is not to rub that in your face, but I would be doing myself a disservice if I did not just express the overwhelming sense of gratitude that I have for living where I do. Um, it's great. So I will be working smart this week. I will be working hard, finishing up some loose ends with some projects I have going on. And that way I can take some me time on Friday, Valentine's Day. I'm going to spend some time with myself. I've committed to that this week. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do yet, but I want to show myself a little bit of self-love. Something I don't always make time for. It's always sort of in the back of my mind, but it's something I want to do more of. And, as part of one of my, um, I guess, goals, you could call it, for 2025 is just spending more time with myself, doing things that I enjoy. I'm curious if you do that. Like, do you make time just for you? Um, maybe to do things that you want to do. For me, being in a new city, of course, there's so much I want to explore, and not all of it resonates like with my kids or with my husband. And in the past, I would just simply not do it. Like I'd have something like, "Hey, are you interested in doing this?" No, not really. And then I was just like, "Okay." And then I just don't do it. But like, it's time to start spending time with me. And it's important for just loving on myself, number one. It's important because it inspires creativity in my business when I don't feel chained to it and I'm still experiencing life and the joys that I love outside of business. So overall, it's just very important, right? Um, it's so important for your personal growth to explore new things that you find interesting, to take life in for yourself, not just as a mother or a wife or a caretaker. I was actually having this exact conversation with a client this past week who, like many of us, especially women, she's always ensuring that everyone else is taken care of before ourselves, but the message I conveyed to her is that, like, if we want something to change, we have to do something different. So I've encouraged her to make some time for herself on the weekends. So one of the things I implemented was, slow weekends. Saturday mornings, like there's a lot of Saturdays, I don't get out of my pajamas until about noon. Depends. I mean, there are days where I have things I have to tend to, but really try to limit those. Like, I enjoy peaceful moments at home on Saturday before all the grocery shopping, before, you know, going wherever. There's always something on our to do list, but really making space for reading, or creative time, or, maybe catching a documentary in the morning as opposed to at night when everybody's around and everybody's, wants to watch the same thing. Again, it's about making space for you because once you tend to yourself first, then everything outside of you and anything you're connected to experiences the peace and joy and contentment that comes from you giving yourself that sense of self-love, right? So that's what that's my message for this Valentine's Day. I'm not going to have a big Valentine's Day episode this week. I've done several episodes in the past on the topics of love and Valentine's Day and the bedroom. And I've actually linked them all in the show notes here. If you do want to feel inspired for Valentine's Day, you can go head back and listen to those specifically. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit more about transitioning to the springtime energy as we start to transition out of the water element and the winter months. But before I do that, I wanted to just let you know I made a few updates to my website. So previously, I had a service that was it was simply called a feng shui consultation. I have actually been pulling back from using the title feng shui consultant. I have really explored so much, or I should say, a variety of ancient wisdom and teachings. And I know that I have that deep intuitive wisdom already within me. So I've created things that have sort of spawned from that. To me, feng shui is just one tool in the toolkit. And there's a lot of other reasons why I'm pulling back from that title as well, maybe for another podcast if I feel inclined to share. But basically, the feng shui consultation is now called the home realignment session, or I'm sorry, home energy realignment. So you'll see that update on the website. I've also made sure I had some old links out there removed. So you still see the shop. There's information on the podcast there. My two core services, as I just mentioned, home energy realignment, which used to be feng shui consultation, is now a little bit more than just feng shui. I mean, you could really use this session or this consulted service if you wanted to just shift the energy of your home. You have a really good grasp on, where you're at physically. You have great mental clarity, but you just want to make sure that your home is set up in a way that it's supporting those intentions that you've already put out for yourself for the year. It's also really great if you're redecorating. That way, we're bringing in the right colors and textures and support systems through decorating, again, to support your growth and your intentions or your goals. If you're doing a renovation project, I love using the home energy map to ensure whatever I'm beginning to renovate, whether it's a kitchen or a bathroom or the primary suite, where does that bedroom sit in my home? Because once I know that, because I know that my home is a reflection of what's going on internally, anytime a client does a renovation, there's usually an internal renovation that's happening at the same time. And I've sort of clocked that with when I was doing strictly interior design. I started seeing that pattern with almost all of my clients. Even if they weren't hiring me for energy work, I couldn't help not see it. And that's what really pushed me to wanting to provide more energy work as opposed to traditional design aesthetic work. So great service for redecorating or renovating anything major in your home. I'd love to help guide you on that to make sure that we're putting the energetic flow in place before the picture perfect, beautiful, all the things, right? So that's that. I'm working on a lot of other things, and I'll be sharing more. But I want to make sure you're on my email list for the Mind Body Home newsletter. It's really just semi-monthly. My personal reflections. I share some rituals and opportunities for realignment within your own self and your home. And for everyday life. So I don't spam. I send honest, heartfelt emails that are simply intended to inspire you. So please get on my email list, and that way you're also in the know in case you miss a podcast episode or you miss a few. You know what's coming out because I'm creating it all for you based on all of your feedback. So stay tuned for more later in the year. Let's dive into what I want to talk about today. So we celebrated Chinese New Year or the Lunar New Year on January 29th. That is coming to the celebrations, I'll say, is coming to an end this week. So celebrations began on the first new moon of 2025, which was January 29th, and it culminates on the following full moon, which will be this week, February 12th. So I highly encourage you to go back and listen to my last 2 or 3 episodes where I shared a lot of information on the energy of 2025, the energy of the wood snake for the year, how to prepare your home for your upcoming year. I also created a free reflection journal, which is perfect for connecting with and embracing this full moon this week. And this full moon is known as the snow moon. So this is sort of like wrapping up the wintry water season and element. And we're preparing now for spring energy, which is supported by wood. It's about growth and it's about building momentum, right? We want to ensure that the momentum we're building is what we have planned um, with intention, right? We don't want to just sort of let this year just sort of smack us across the face, right? Again, as I said in the beginning, there's a lot of big energy shifting on us as a whole. We're feeling it individually, but we're going to experience it on a whole. So it's really important to be very grounded, very intentional with what you plan to do in this coming year and to recognize what's happening not only in our nation, but globally and how it can and will most certainly impact your life. So intention is so critical at this moment in time. It's sort of like planting a garden, right? Like you're going to choose what goes in the garden. Are you planting flowers? Do you want to do a shade garden, right? You need different seeds and plants for that. Are you doing a vegetable garden, right? If you don't plan what goes in your garden, it will just be taken over by weeds, which are unwanted plants, right? So intentionality goes a long way. And so ensure that your intentions are aligned with your deeper values, right? If you haven't taken the time recently to review or focus on, and if necessary, even realign your core values, take the time to do that. It's going to set you up for so much more success this year rather than falling prey to whatever happens, right? It's like the weeds take over. So this full moon this week is a time of purification, right? Releasing what's no longer necessary, planting seeds, right? Preparing for the growth of spring. So since we are wrapping up that winter watery season, there's a few areas in the home that you might want to focus on before spring arrives. And I have selected today to talk about the front center of your home. So this is if you're standing outside of your home looking at it, looking at the front of your home, front center, which is represented by your life path or your career, your purpose, and front left corner. And that area represents your deeper wisdom, knowledge, spiritual practice. So I chose these two because they are represented by the water element as well. And, they really go hand in hand. Your career is most certainly influenced by the education or the training you received, right? So that deep knowledge, wisdom, and your purpose or your gifts to the world, those come from a much deeper intuitive place, right? Knowing that your purpose here on earth, it's probably bigger than you might even be aware of, right? And there's a reason why we're called to particular career paths or called to helping in this area, right? So some of the things, so the other thing I want to mention, like if you're feeling stuck in your career, right? And maybe you're thinking about making a change, this could be an area that you want to work on or look at in your home, the front center. Um, if you're not feeling inspired, right? Or you know there's more you can offer to the world, it's like you feel like something's missing. You're not living out your purpose. You know, that's a big question that I get in coaching is what is my purpose? How do I find it? Where do I look for it? There has to be more to my job than this, right? Well, practicing what I practice through Mind Body Home, I mean, just one of the things I would look at is these areas of the home where that are associated to those areas of life. What rooms are sitting there? Are they cluttered, with stuff? How do you use the space? Are you even using those spaces? If you're not using them, there's probably a lack of flow, right? So these are the areas I want you to just kind of explore. You can always grab a copy of the home energy map, aka the Bagua map, on in the show notes to locate these areas if you needed assistance doing so. But it's really important to take a look, like with a really discerning eye, too, not just like, oh, it looks clean and oh, I ran the sweeper. No, like look at the decor. Look at the artwork on the walls. Look in the cabinets. What's in there? You really want to be discerning here when looking at these areas. Clutter lurks even in hidden places. Clutter isn't always so revealing. It's not always right in front of us. Even sometimes the most organized people have clutter organized in the closets, right? So clutter isn't always what you think it is. So take a look around your space. What's going on? Do you like the way you have it decorated? And if you do, like say you do like the things you have, maybe just rearranging some of them. If you have a table, an entry table, say it's maybe your front door, you walk into your foyer here. And you have an entry table and you like all of your stuff on there, but maybe just rearrange it, right? Just shift some things around on the table or add something new or take something away. We want to move the energy. We want to get the energy sort of circulating here. Um, the other area I'd have you look at is your front entry. Now, your front entry may very well sit already in one of these two spaces, um, but it could also be to the far right. And, according to the home energy map, that area is helpful people and travel. So if your entry sits here, I do want you to also look at it here because perhaps there's, because it's associated to the helpful people, it's about bringing those people here on planet Earth or, spiritual guidance, however you see that. Um, it's about asking for help to get things moving along in the direction that you want to go, right? So what I would say about that is if the front door is in that far right corner, maybe there's a call for you to look at that area of your life or look at the friends and the support system you have in your life. Are they supportive of your career, your life path, your spiritual beliefs, the knowledge or the wisdom that you're investing yourself in? This area is connected to the metal element, so it might be time to literally cut out or cut the cord with those that do not support you. And you know who those people are, right? And you can still do that with love and grace and compassion and forgiveness. It doesn't need to be mean-spirited. I mean, talk about self-love. Removing yourself from the judgment of others is a total act of self-love, right? Surrounding yourself with only those who support you unconditionally is an act of self-love. So show yourself that compassion and respect that is your birthright. So again, really decluttering this front entry, ensuring that everything works. Your handle isn't loose, the doorbell works, wiping down the front door, both on the inside, the outside, cleaning the glass if you have it. You can freshen up the space with fresh doormats, If you're in a colder climate, you might have a lot of like snow and slush and just dirt. Just hosing it off when you get a day out there that's starting to warm up and just freshening up that space. Look around at the exterior around your entry. Just making it clean and welcoming, right? And not doing it because you heard someone say it on a podcast, but doing it while holding whatever intention you've set for yourself for the new year, right? Because our front door, that is how opportunities find us. Whenever we want something new, it enters our life, it enters our home through the front door. So we want to invite it in just as we would a guest, just as we would a neighbor, a friend. So it's not about just doing it because someone told you to do it. It's doing it because you've set that intention for the new year. So some examples. I'm welcoming more financial prosperity. I'm welcoming new friendships or partnerships. If you or a family member has been chronically sick in the last several months, I invite health and vitality into my home. If you're in business, I welcome visibility and being seen more so that my business can grow, right? So whatever intentions you've set for yourself and this year, focus on as you clean your front entry, hold that intention while you're cleaning. So these are all really wonderful ways to transition your home from those colder winter watery season and to prepare it for what's coming this spring, right? And if you're stuck on what it is you even want, I hear this so much because we've created so many distractions and there's so much chaos in the world right now. Download my free winter reflection journal to help guide you. You can also check out my service page to learn more about working with me. I'm happy to help realign the energy of your home. And this is a really wonderful time to do that, right? Setting up your home in a way that supports your goals and anything new you're inviting into your life this year, right? The other service I offer is Mind Body Home Alignment. So if you need help maintaining that momentum with your wishes and your goals, Mind Body Home Alignment might also be a good fit for you. I'm loving this bi-weekly episode release. I mean, it's really taken the pressure off of me a bit. I record, edit, and produce my own podcast, and it is a lot of work. But I love it. I love my podcast, and I want to continue loving it. But weekly was just too much. And so I'm very happy that I've pulled back on weekly, and I'm doing it twice a month now. It's giving me so much more space. And I know the importance of space, right? As I said to you before, I have so many other things that I'm working on for you as it relates to Mind, Body, Home. And in order for me to create it and welcome it in, I got to make the space to do it. So I hope that biweekly is working for you. Please check out the linked episodes if you want more Valentine's Day content or self-love content. It's all there for you. Please check out my updated website. I worked really hard on it last week and do what you can to support the podcast. I mean, like it, subscribe to it, and, I'm on YouTube too, so share it with a friend. And most importantly, leave a positive review so that others can find it. In fact, if you leave me a review, take a screenshot and email it to me at jsd@jadescottdesign.com, and I'm going to send you a free gift. I don't know what it is yet because I just decided that on the fly, but I promise I will commit to it. So my friends, please enjoy the last bits of winter. Set up your spring goals with some intention during this week's full moon, and do not forget to spend some time with yourself this week. Until next time, I'm sending you so much love and gratitude.